For a 4-4-2.
He didn't know what was going on in the room.
Elias managed to refrain from swearing.
He said, if you've got a problem with me, let's sort it out in the gym.
He's exactly the same with our lot. The thing is...
Come on! Come on! Where has that come from?
Yeah.
They brought through the door. You know, look at the...
What a performance. What, you know, the guys...
God, that was ruled off. Quite stupid things like that.
Live from Style Space at the Supporters Club. Right.
But he was getting a bit tired, I thought.
Come on! There we go! Come on!
Come on! Yeah! Go!
Welcome back to West Ham Irons United. Of course, I am Anton, and I'm joined by my fellow presenter, Stel. Stel, how you doing?
I'm very well, mate. How are you? You know,
Yes,
middle
mate.
of the afternoon. I should be working now, really.
I know. Don't tell anyone. No, don't tell anyone. I'm excited about today, though. Are you excited about today?
I am actually. Yeah, I'm sort of a bit starstruck, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I can tell. I can tell. Stel, just before
Not because I'm talking to you.
Do you want to just do me a favour? Let everyone know what we're doing.
Yeah, this is all about Come Together, You Irons. We, as part of the West Ham social media network, involving all other YouTube channels, all other content creators of West Ham, we're all coming together this weekend to raise money for the Newham Recorder Christmas Toy Appeal and the Irons food banks. Now, some of you have already donated to some of these worthy causes, but this is part of a 24-hour marathon. Or we think it's going to be a 24-hour marathon that we're doing this weekend, and this is part of it. And yeah, a very, very worthy cause. And we've got a couple of very, very, well, what can I say, legends who are going to help us through the next hour or so.
Yeah, you can say that again, mate. Absolutely. Well, without further ado, shall we bring on our special guest for the show? Yeah, we're ready to rock and roll.
Might as well. They're going to be the stars of the show, mate.
Absolutely. We're certainly not going to be you, mate. Anyway, let's bring on the first one, and it's your hat trick appearance today, Ian Bishop. How are you?
Good, mate. You?
Yeah, good, mate. Thank you so much for coming on, and yeah, we're just gonna have a bit of a chin wag about all things West Ham, and I hope you are kind of. I know you'll all be behind the reason why we're doing a show like this today, you know.
Well, I'm just happy it's my first ever hat trick. Obviously, it's a bit different for him, you know, but no, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to speaking to him and the both of you.
Well, listen, you're talking about hat tricks, so we'd be as well bringing on our next guest. And as Stel said before, maybe you might need subtitles for both myself and the next guest. But I do apologise to you in advance, Mr. Legend Frank Mccavennie. Frank, how you doing?
I'm good, guys. I'm very good, thank you.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Frank, how many hat tricks did you get in your career?
I don't know. A few. Yeah. 3, 4.
Do you want to tell Bish what it's like to get a hat trick?
Yeah.
Midfielders aren't meant to get hat tricks, are they? So
I scored 2 once, and I tried to get him another one, but it wasn't happening.
We've actually, funny enough, we've actually got a kind of an image of the two of you together. But back in the days,
that was his 3 Musketeers. Yeah.
He was jealous of me and Trev. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Got better between these two.
Yeah.
We actually used to look like that about 4.
That's what it was. Try to get in between.
No, listen, guys.
What about these shorts, guys?
I was just about to actually mention those. I thought, I better not mention those shorts.
My God.
What was going on back then? You know, what did the kit manufacturers, what was in their minds when they created shorts so short?
Yeah.
Well, as you can see, it was fine for me because I had the biggest package.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. In his own mind.
A hat trick in his own underwear there, Frank.
Yeah. I know.
What were you saying, Bish?
One long shot and 2 close range. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. That's great. That's quite quick for you, mate. Yeah.
Never
Bit like your love life.
The game where you left me, it was Forest, wasn't it, Frank? Your last game was Forest. No, that was I think that was Swindon Oil.
That was Swindon. Yeah, we scored.
You scored the winner that day. Yeah. I remember all your goals, mate.
Yeah.
I remember. That's right.
Yeah. The hat trick was good because I only came on at half time, didn't I?
Yeah, you did, yeah. Well, you know,
it was not bad.
He was saving you.
Well, listen, Bish, this is your hat trick, but this is also Frank's brace appearance on our show. And I noticed his face when we done the intro, and he was like, "Oh, I remember that guy."
Yeah, he come up and got me in the golf course, didn't you?
I did. Sorry for interrupting your afternoon there.
That's all right.
That was pre restrictions, etc. So collectively between you, there's like over 400 appearances for the club. Yeah.
Wow.
So,
yeah, well done.
Yep. And
I would think Bish, you have more than me, wouldn't you?
So how many nights out was that, Frank?
Do you know what? I knew you were going to see that. Yeah, too many, mate.
You've all old and calm down. That's it.
And Bish, you what? Am I correct in saying about 17 goals for West Ham?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'm not going to be credit for anymore. I like to count how many I had a hand in making now.
Yeah, well, you'd have been doing all right now with what is it, assists now, isn't it? They give it assists for everything now. So
I got a couple of them on my left knee, mate.
Yeah, actually, I scored a few off you, mate. Don't worry about that. Made not a bad partnership.
No.
And Frank, you corrected me the last time I met you. Can you inform us of how many goals do you for West Ham's over 50? But there's what is the number?
I don't know. It was Celtic. I had to go to you for Celtic. It was scored more for Celtic. But anyway, it was whatever. I scored a lot of goals. It was. Yeah, I was a team player. Well, I was more a team player than an out-and-out striker, So I didn't bother about goals as long as we won.
Yeah, and that's that was definitely the main thing. Anyway, listen, we're just going for a bit of a chin wag. So, Stel, shall we get rocking and rolling?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do it.
So, really, just a brief question. The first question would be, I'll put the first one to you, Bish. How do you rate West Ham's season so far?
It's not the season for me. It's the calendar year. Just since they come back after lockdown, they've been one of the top teams. I think. I'm not a stat man, but going on what happened and the way they kept themselves up, and then starting the season the way they did, I think you'll all agree that we're sitting with more points than we expected with the run of games that we had. And it's been strange really, because I think they did a similar thing when they came back after lockdown. They went to City and they played like totally negative defensive football. And then I think the next game was at Anfield, and I was saying at the time that if Moyes doesn't change it, they're going to be in trouble. If he doesn't have a more attack-minded approach, whether they win, lose, or draw, whatever, things aren't going to happen. They're going to struggle. And they turned it around. I was actually at I think it was the Arsenal away before the lockdown, and they played really well then. And I thought, it's a shame that I had to stop, because I thought they were sort of coming into a little bit of form at the time. But look, my fear this season was after that run of games where they came through it with probably more points than we expected.
Yeah, we've been saying that, as a fan base, we've been saying that all along. And you're absolutely right, Bish. It changed. The Liverpool game last season changed everything. All of a sudden, it seems like we've been a completely different team. Because you're absolutely right. When we went to City, we all said if we continue to play that way, we would have gone down. That was the feeling amongst the fan base. And then something changed. It's almost like Moyes had an epiphany in terms of how he wanted to manage, have the team play. And we haven't looked back since, really. That Liverpool game. I know we didn't win the Liverpool game, but we looked a lot better then, didn't we?
Yeah, well,
sort of moving forward.
You can go and take something from it, though. Whether you're not supposed to go and win at Anfield, but you can play with going up and then losing the game the way they did. It's you can still take something from it. My biggest thing from this season is that they went and continued against Fulham. Not great performances, don't get me wrong, and Sheffield United. For me, that was the thing. After the worry of the 6 consecutive games that we were talking about, my issue was, what are you going to do after that now? Because Frank will even tell you, back in our day, we were doing that, beating the bigger teams, going against adversity, and then kicking ourselves in the teeth against the games that we should have won. But they've gone on doing that, irrespective of what the performances were like.
Why do you think that's ingrained in West Ham? Why is it that we seem to do really well against the big teams, or seemingly, and then when it comes to the teams that are there or thereabouts around us or below us, we always slip up? Why is that, Frank? I mean, Bish has just said we a lot of fans think it's only now, but this is historic, isn't it?
No. Yeah, it's historic. I don't really know how to explain it. Everyone's up for a game when you're playing the big teams, the so-called big teams. And, they're not defensive and we can play against them. When it comes to West Ham, when you're going against teams like Fulham and teams like that, they actually defend against them. And that's when they find it hard to break down, in my opinion. But I didn't think, I thought last year, or 2 years ago, they'd get beat with Sheffield United, and they'd get beat with Fulham, the way the games were going. 1-0, to get a 1-0, or they might have even got a draw last year. But this year, that 1-0 win is, I tell you what, it makes all the difference, because wasn't some of the football wasn't nice, but you're getting away, and the fans are saying, well, we're not at the ground. They would have the adrenaline would have kicked in if they scored the goal that the fans get behind them and all that kind of stuff. But they're not there now, so they've got to make their own atmosphere, and that's a hard thing to do when you're on a pitch. I thought it was going to be like pre-season games. You know what it's like, Bish, you go away and there's 20 guys and a dog watching you in the pre-season. You've got to get your own. You've got to get up for it. You've got to get your fitness and get your own atmosphere. So you've got to give the boys a bit of respect for how they're handling a big stadium like that. It's like a big empty, bowl really into it, and it's a huge stadium to walk out in the middle of the pitch. So you've got to give credit to the boys for that.
Do you guys think that maybe it's easier for the players at the moment because they haven't got the crowd on their backs, or is that does that not matter?
They're not allowed to get kicked. you can't get near them now. They're all wrapped in cotton wool, the players nowadays, which is great for football if you want to watch it. But it's just Bish took a lot of stick. I took a lot of studs to the back of my legs. It's just one of the part and parcel with football. It's not there anymore. But the boys have rolled their sleeves up, and I'll tell you what, I thought they were honest with you, but they proved me wrong. I think, no disrespect to Nobes, but when he's went out and they've got Rice and Suchek, and it's a bit of legs. It's younger. I think we played against Chelsea, and I just looked at midfield, and they were doing 1-2s round the boys, and I thought, you're either not fit or the legs have gone. So it's a shame, because he's been a wonderful servant, but he must be sitting there looking at the boys, and I'm sure he'll come on and do a job. I'm sure he'll still be doing a job for West Ham. Like Billy Bonds used to do with us, just before he took over his management. He would come on, and if somebody needed slowed down, he'd come on and kick them.
Yeah. I think for some of the players, it's easier. I think some of the players couldn't deal with the pressure, especially towards the end of the relegation battle. Some of them would have gone missing.
No, I think the other thing, but people are trying things, but they're not getting stick. They're trying things. Yeah. And it's a case of they're trying things that they wouldn't have done if there was a crowd there.
Yeah.
Because they're getting away with it. If it doesn't happen, they're getting away with it. And what you're finding is a lot of these boys are, when the crowds come back, they'll be a lot more confident. So hopefully they'll carry it on. It takes a certain kind of player to play in front of a big crowd and handle it. I mean, I loved it. Me and Bish used to laugh when we were getting pelters off both sets of supporters. we were laughing, and it was just I loved the crowd. I loved getting stick off the crowd. You knew you were doing something right.
That's it. Would so players would thrive off that, even if they get stick from the crowd. they'll go, well, I'll show you what I can really do. But you're absolutely right, Bish. Some players don't respond that way, do they?
No. Unless Frank the Singer, who's up Morley's arse for 10 years.
I was going to mention that. It was good fun.
You know, how important is the backroom staff? You know, because you've got a player like, as a fan's looking in, you've got Kevin Nolan, you've got Alan Irvine, you've got all those guys in the background behind David Moyes. Is there a lot of credit that goes to them? And back in when yous were playing, how important were the backroom staff behind the whole setup?
But for me, they're there for you to go to, if you know, because every individual. I mean, look, Frank and we were sort of not well. He was more established than I was when I first came, I think. But as you grow into it, you don't need it as much, but you do need a springboard sometimes. So let's say one of your backroom staff played in your position, you know, or you'd have someone to go to when things weren't really working for you, or you had your doubts on the pitch. You'd obviously have it out with the players, but when it's you as an individual knowing something isn't working, something's not going right for you, you had somebody to bounce off, and that's what they should be there for. Because don't get me wrong, you'll have your fights with the manager. You'll have your arguments. I had plenty of running with Harry, you know, and in words exchanged, even in the dressing room at half time, swearing at each other, whatever it is, you know. But you can have that with the manager. I think the backroom staff are there to come to you afterwards and say, look, you know, maybe I get what you're saying, but this is what the manager means. Sometimes you can't do it in the heat of battle. Sometimes it's just fire and words. And
I think that's a big thing. I think that's taken out. That's out the game now. I think that's gone now because you're not allowed to shout at the players anymore. You know, they don't accept it. The players, you know, I've heard that they just, you know, we don't need shouted at. My last manager never shouted at me and all that kind of nonsense. So I sometimes think the same as you, Bish. You know, sometimes you need a kick up the backside, and sometimes you need an arm around you, and that's when the backroom staff is there. You know, usually the manager's a bad guy. You know, 9 out of 10, and his assistant will put his arm around you and say, you know, he doesn't mean that way. He doesn't mean to shout at you like that. He doesn't mean that, but he wants you to do this, and that's all right, you know. But with Nolan there, it's good for, you know, Alan Irvine's been David Moyes' right-hand man, so it's great that he's there. But I think a big praise has to go. I think it's not. Shouldn't go amiss that Stuart Pearce walked in and all of a sudden the defence started playing better after a few weeks.
That's a really good point. Yeah,
you know, I think because Nolan's great with the and strikers, but when Stuart Pearce came in, I thought the boys were all over the place. You know, I really did. The defence was all over the place, and I think when he's come in, he's sorted that out. And whoever comes in, if one of them gets injured, whoever comes in, it's the same way. They're playing the same way, and I think that's a big. I think you've got to hand it. David Moyes. You know, to be fair, he was a centre half, not a very good one, but he was a centre half. But it was he's all right, David. Anyway, so it was a centre half. So they'll work on it, and that doesn't go unnoticed. I think, you know, they look like a unit now. You know, sometimes I thought Cresswell was way up the park. Fornells was playing left back, and I'm thinking, what are you doing? You know, and you know, as a player, I'd have been saying it. If I was a midfield player and Bish would have said, hold on, you're not a forward, why are you going up there? And there's time and a place, I think, to do that. And I think the defence is now sorted out and everyone knows what they're doing. You know, I think that's the biggest thing that's happened. Every player knows when Chris is playing, he knows when to go forward. He goes forward and hits a great ball in the box. But first and foremost, I think these guys, they'll be getting taught that they're actual defenders and that's their job.
That brings me on to an interesting question I was going to ask you, Frank, because you were an ex-winger and converted to a striker.
Yeah.
Now, Antonio, the same thing. How do you think, you know, some players kind of adapt to changing the way a manager wants them to play, if a manager wants them to play in a different position and stuff. You did it. How do you feel Antonio's doing, being converted from a winger to a right back to a centre forward?
I think he's doing great. I think he's just putting himself about. You know, he makes himself available for. It'd be great. Bish will tell you he's a midfield player. When you're playing up front, sometimes you can have a bad game, but your touch is bad enough. But you can still help the team, so you can still make yourself available for passes off the midfield and chase lost causes and put defenders under pressure. And he's just like an absolute pest, Antonio. Bother defenders don't like guys like that. You know, now I said that on another podcast. I said, look, I look at Hala and I think, you know what? He's 6'6". He's built like a Greek god. He puts himself about, and I'm going, you should be just bullying. I mean, it's not the right word, but you know what I mean? You should be knocking these defenders about, and you should be, you know, sitting on the bench, you must look at Antonio and say, I've got to do that to get my place, because he wants to be the number one. But I'm going to tell you, when Antonio's fit, he's going to walk back in, because he's taking it. Unless Hala's doing it, he scored a couple of goals, but for me, he's not done enough to make it the number one spot. Because there's more to playing up front than just scoring. You've got to do other things. And Hala, unfortunately, I wish he would look at Antonio and say, look, get some of that energy and enthusiasm. I mean, I seen me and Bish laughing when we scored. You seen their faces when we scored. I mean, I looked at Hala yesterday and I thought, my God, I honestly thought he'd lost a bet. Because he scored. I thought he had to draw. And I'm thinking, oh, the boys are all smiling, going jumping top of him.
The biggest thing for Antonio would be to get for Hala to be firing, because I think he's better playing out on the left. I think he expands too much energy. He took everything on his own shoulders, and it worked. I mean, he did it. He more or less kept us up single-handedly. But you know, he needs help. And Hala, for me, is coming. There's been, and I look at the club lately. There's been attitude problems with players.
Yeah.
When Frank's talking about scoring goals, I think he came on and scored against Wolves in the 4-0, and just turned around and did what he did against Sheffield United. Like, I don't care. This is what I do. I think they lose sight of things when he's become a big money signing. He came with a reputation. And I remember actually tweeting him when he arrived and said, look, as long as you work your balls off, give everything, you bang in a few goals, you show the right attitude, these fans will love you.
Yeah.
And if the West Ham fans love you, you thrive on that.
Yeah.
You know, and I felt he would become a superstar. And he's got all the attributes, like Frank says. You know, he can't finish, but I think Antonio needs him to fire.
Yeah.
Well, you see some of the things he'd done yesterday, but I mean, the header onto Soucek or Bowen was, I can't remember, but some of his touches were pretty good. But when you make a touch, you've got to go after it. You know, you've got to make yourself available for the next one. And I don't think he does that. I mean, we used to do things at West Ham, one-touch football and all that. And if you made a pass and you didn't run to create another space, then it was a free kick to the other team. You know, and that soon gets to you because you keep giving the ball back if you don't move. And I think Hala should do that at training. You know, if he doesn't want to, because you get a great touch. I mean, you've seen it yesterday. The deft touch with his head to put the boy in. I thought it was magnificent. So he's got all the attributes. It's just as if he's not. You know, it looks as if he's coming off the pitch and he's still got half left in the tank.
Well, just to that point,
if that makes any sense to you.
To that point, fellas, if you look at the goal again, he had actually stopped. Maybe I'm seeing.
I know.
Stopped, and the ball ricocheted.
No, I seen that as well, Bush.
Into life, yeah. He had stopped. The ball's in and around the box, and he's stopped.
You know, there's a lot of the fans were kind of, you know, the fans were kind of mixed on that goal in particular. They were saying the ball fell to me, it was a hit and hope, or was there more technical ability to it? What do you guys rate of that? I mean,
especially they stopped, but you know, when the ball dropped to him, he knew what he was doing with it. You know, he knew where he wanted to put it. So, you know, I think that's. But as Bishy is, if that was me, because he got involved in the build-up, I would have been in the box. I would have been in trying to get it off for nails. But when he went down, there was nobody there, so he actually cut back and came on his right and tried to get a shot. So, but listen, I'll take it, you know. But I would just like, I think the boys get a chance. But I would like to see him putting more of an effort. I'd like to see him putting the same enthusiasm or have the same enthusiasm as Antonio. And then I think David Moyes might be tempted to play the two of them.
Yeah.
But at the moment,
he can't
because he won't chase. If he loses the ball, he won't chase it.
Do you think there's a lot to be said about, there's a lot of fans that talk about formation, and, they talk about the formation he played in when he was in Holland and in Germany. He always had either another player up front with him, or he played at a front three. And now Moyes is expecting him to be a front man on his own. I mean, it seems that it doesn't kind of suit him. But what you're saying, Frank, is it shouldn't matter, should it? There should be more effort being put in.
I don't know who went. Listen, I don't know who went to watch him. Because he played in a 3.
That's right. So,
I get that. So, and it never varied. So whoever went to watch him, I think whoever went to watch him must have thought, he's a big strapping lad. He's a big 6'6", and he's a bumper athlete. He could hold the line and hold the front line and hold the ball up and bring players into it. And he just doesn't. That's not his game. Yeah. So hopefully Nolan will get that in his game. He might be helping him, and because you can speak English, boy. So I would think, Nolan's a Geordie. He might not understand him. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe not. But I'm sure he'll be helping him. But listen, as Bish says a couple of minutes ago, he's definitely got all the makings. It's just not. It's just, it's his heart that I'm thinking about. And
definitely, mate. The system doesn't stop you working your balls off.
No.
What? So you do all the other side of the game, all the donkey work and all that, and then let people say, he's working so hard, at least for the team. We're not getting deliveries into the box, with one of his strengths. Then people can say, well, we're not playing him in the way we should.
Yeah.
But the thing for me is, if like I said before, getting him firing, I don't mind Fornals, right? But I think we can improve on that position. And I think Haller coming into form, Antonio going onto that left side will improve us again as a team. And Fornals will make way for that. But he's got to show, the reason Fornals is in there is because he puts a shift in. He puts a shift in. So if you've got Antonio, who would put a shift in, you're losing Haller putting a shift in.
Yeah.
So, and I think when we look at ourselves and the beginning of the season, realistically, Moyes has gone out a little bit cautious because of what happened the season before, and that's understandable. West Ham don't go out saying we're going to push for the league this year. They go out thinking, look, even Jose Mourinho against City, he's gone out to win one game like that and said, I'm going to park the bus again. Ridiculous. But there's got to be that scepticism within West Ham. We need to start well, so we'll be a little bit cautious at first. You can't help injuries and you have to adjust. But the people that come in, this is his moment. This is his chance, and he doesn't look like he's enjoying trying to establish himself, scoring goals or not.
What about the young boy that we've just signed on loan, Ben Rama? Do you think someone like him, if we don't have Antonio and Allaire on the pitch at the same time, what about the young boy Ben Rama? Do you think someone like him could actually open up Allaire?
Is he a number 10, or is what they call it in behind the striker, or does he play left side? I don't know if he would. If he would come in for Fornals, maybe.
Yeah, more left-sided attacking.
I don't know why they've got him and not play him. Fornals, as Bish says, Fornals is working his socks off. So, he's entitled to keep his place. But it's one of them. I think Benrahma's a good player. I think he's a talented boy. I didn't want him to get rid of, is it Diagana to West Brom? I didn't want him to get rid of him because he was through the ranks. And Bish will tell you, the fans give them more time than what they do other players and the boys that have come through the ranks. So I just thought, if you've got him there, you've sold the guy, the young boy, and you're not playing him. I don't see the point of it. So I think you've got to find a team. You find your position, because there's a lot of games. You've got to. I wouldn't have been rotated. That's for sure. I didn't. If I wasn't playing, I was dropped. It was, there was none of this rotation when we played. Bish, was there? It was your hopeless. Your hopeless. Get out, but get out.
Bish, I know you, Frank. You're mentioning like players like Diangana, but on top of that, we've got players like Anderson. So you're obviously being a skillful player. I mean, what's your thoughts on how Anderson has performed, and also are you disappointed what he's shown to the club? Is it just the Premier League that simply doesn't suit his style of play, or is it his heart, like what everyone else is doing?
It's his heart. He's away to another team now, isn't he? And they're not playing him either. Or has he came back now, is he?
Porto,
he started the other day, but he hasn't played a lot. Yeah,
no, he's not played a lot. I mean, listen, I made a statement. The boy's got bundles of talent, but I've never seen him get into a tackle, never pull out of one. He just doesn't want to know, does he?
The game is actually going to suit players like that.
Yeah, it should be. It should be, but it's
shift to suit players.
It doesn't.
But it still doesn't give you that work ethic. It still doesn't. He has all the ability in the. Same with Lanzini, right? Yeah. We've got a few of them. I blame the period with the other Arnautovic when he did it. Became a cult hero, and then went for the cash, gave up on football, and was strutting around the place like he owned it, and spread the poison, a bit like Pogba does at Man U. I'm too good for this. Now other people are going, well, if he's gone and got all that money, why shouldn't I go and get all that money? Yeah. And they think it's the right way to be. And no disrespect, I don't see it from many English players. I'm not just digging out the foreigners. It seems to be, that type of temperament. We can talk about Nobes all we want, but he is the epitome of heart, soul, and wanting to give everything and sweat blood for the club. These players don't have that. It's disappointing to see. I want players like that. I actually touted and got called ridiculous on me Twitter by a West Ham fan. After the Lanzini goal at Tottenham, is it now time to bring him in again slowly? Because if you get the best out of Lanzini, you've got one exceptional player on your hand. And it's how you nurse him back now. How do you nurse him back? I thought that might have been the time. But I don't think Moyes sees a system for him. I think Moyes now sees this system where I've got me working on the left, working on the right. There's so much more to come from Jared Bowen. I think that kid will bang for you. But he's not going to get the run down the middle while we're playing him wide on the right, and he's ending up in the right back position. Anderson didn't want to do it. Now Moyes has got people in them positions that want to do the shitty work, That's what he likes.
I don't think he'll change his positions a bit, lads. I think Davy's got a system that he's happy with, and he's got players that will come in. It's a bit. I like seeing formations change, and I don't know if David likes to do that. He's got like for like. If he makes a substitution, it's like for like, probably. And sometimes you may change it up if you're on a back.
Well, that's what, that's been the kind of topic of most of our conversations week in and week out, is depending on the opposition. It seems to be that Moyes does like the similar system against any side, whether they're challenging at the top or challenging at the bottom. Is that a downfall? So if you take the last two games, they haven't been nice on the park. We've grinded out 2 results, but I mean, Fulham, apart from the Sheffield United aside, the Fulham game in particular, we were lucky not to draw that game. That was just down to a crap penalty. But would that have been an opportunity to change up formation, like what you said?
I think results dictate as well. Results dictate. If you're winning, it's very hard for them to change it. I think no disrespect to Dave, because I like him. I did want him to come back. I think he had a tough time the first time. Them letting him go, but I did want him to come back. I did think he'd settle the ship, but I also want him to now push on and be more like adjustable to the players he has and what will be best for us, because it's actually maybe stifling Fornals and stifling Bowen by them there constantly. But if results keep going, nothing will change for them. They'll still have to do that. We're 6 points off the top of the league. Amazing, really. I know it's only very early, but you should be looking and saying, how can we kick on? Because you don't scrape them results every week. Sooner or later, that same system you believe in will fall down if you keep expecting to win by the odd goal. It's fine doing it when you go to Anfield. You've still got to play. We are different when Antonio's there, don't get me wrong. We've now become a counter-attacking team instead of a football playing team. We are counter-attacking. There's no ifs or buts about it. Now, Antonio not being there, I think we have to find something different, because he is your outlet. Haller doesn't want to do it. So it's going to be different. And if we continue to look to try and scrape by playing this solid sort of defensive-minded system, it's not going to work while Antonio's out.
Yeah, and it's interesting you say that, Bish, because That's what a lot of fans think. It's like as much as we admire what's happened, and who can argue? I mean, you know, we're all happy at the moment because we are where we're at. We've beaten teams that we didn't think we were going to beat. But you're absolutely right. There has to be a manager. A good manager knows how to play different systems in order to accommodate the teams that we're up against. And I think when we got through our first 7 or 8 games, and then we had Fulham and Sheffield United, I think we were kind of hoping that maybe he'd tweak it, be a bit more attack minded, but he didn't do it. And he's a bit of a creature of habit. He sticks with what he knows. But you're right. If that comes unstuck, will that kind of make the team get a bit worried? Will that create a little bit of uncertainty because we're not playing different ways?
I think for me, I think especially as saying earlier, I think you've got to find positions, or you've got to find someone in the team for the flair players. You know, you don't need 2 or 3 of them, but I think you need one. You know, and if you can, I'm the same as Bishop. Lanzini is a wonderful player. If you can find space for him, then you know, there's no 2 up front, but he could find that pocket, that pass that maybe Haller would love. You know, he might move but he's not got anyone sitting in the number 10. So all he's got really is Souček running by, going into the box to try and get ahead. And he sits there and he's coming on to a game now. Ain't it funny we're sitting talking about West Ham and telling them to change positions not when we're winning? It makes an awful change, doesn't it? You know,
talking of Souček, what do you guys think of that midfield link up, Souček and Declan Rice?
Honestly,
one of the best in the Premier League at the moment.
Honestly, I think he's David Moyes' Fellaini.
I think he's better than Fellaini, mate.
Yeah, I'd like to see him get involved in the game a little bit more.
Yeah.
I think Declan has a lot of weight on his shoulders as far as that's concerned. I think you need like Frank was saying, maybe a younger nose next to him. Souček, don't get me wrong. Look, if he's not getting on the end of things in the box, which is great that he does, if he's going to bang goals in, fair play. But you also need to be involved in the game, and I don't see him. I very rarely see him touching the ball.
That's interesting because we see him quite differently. Well, I certainly do. I think they really complement each other really well. Because I think the last box-to-box midfielder that we had was someone like Kouyaté, who was all right, not the greatest, but I think personally I think Souček does that role really well. It kind of complements Rice more. I don't know. It's interesting to see, you know, other points of view because we think he gets quite a lot involved. But
well, just have a look and count his touches.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
You know, it's. I mean, for me, somebody that likes to always be on the ball, and maybe I notice it a little bit more. But you can still be, if you're box to box, still need to do both of it. You're not halfway into their box. People get confused with box to box. You know, when he's gone, who's filling in? You know, so it isn't as much the box to box. I'd like to think that we're talking about changing systems and that. You need to keep better possession. So you need everybody one there. If you're a back player, look, do we play the ball out from the back as much as anybody else? I very doubt we do. But you need everybody looking for it. You need options. Every man on the ball needs at least 3 options, right? And I don't believe he gives that option. So I think we're lacking it. And games where we're struggling along, when we said we should keep better possession, it's difficult when only one of your midfield players is coming looking for it. I think I'll say it. I think when he finds a better player, he'll replace him.
So moving on to Declan, what do you think of the new captain's role in the game?
I think he's grown up. I think he's done very well. I was a bit concerned with all the speculation and all that. I didn't think he was living up to what he could play, the hype of him, if you like. But I think there was a lot of pressure on the boy because every day he was going to Chelsea and, you know, they were coming in with another bid and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, and I felt that he had to make his mind up. You know, I says, got to make his decision. But I didn't mean make a decision about whether he was leaving West Ham or not. I meant make a decision whether he was a centre half or a centre midfield player, because there's no Bishop Terry. There's nothing worse than going in back four and then getting into midfield again. You've got to have one. You've got to pick one. You don't want to be a utility player. He's far too good for that. I thought it would have been a great centre half if he'd have stayed there. But he's doing well for me in midfield. So he's got energy and he's got that. You know, he's got that long stride that he can get by players, and so I'd like to see him do more of that, because when he goes by players and runs forward, Souček doesn't sit in for him. You know, so we could be caught out, but luckily, you know, we're not, because normally you get someone like Declan goes, someone will sit in it, like Bishop's midfield, he would go and Martin Allen would tuck in behind him or something. You know, it would work, and somebody would always be there rather than Souček getting in the box as well, you know.
Can I ask a question then, related on West Ham's current squad? I'll put this one first to you, Bish. Who from the current squad would you love to have played with? From our current squad, and who would have fitted into your best West? Well, I'm not trying to make it so it's unfair to a player that you're taking out, but who would you have loved to have taken in your time and played with?
Well, I mean, obviously, look, Antonio, for me, if somebody's always giving you an outlet, you know, I mean, I was fortunate. Look, I had Frank, I had TC, Clive Allen. For me, we were talking earlier about, you know, look at the smile, look. Don't you tell? I'm smiling. I just knew we were definitely out afterwards.
Yes, he was trying to worry how he was trying to think how he can tell his missus.
Frank's book of lies. Play, I didn't want to dwell on the ball, right? So I needed options all the time, and I needed people to be alive all the time, and know that I could find you as well as you make that run. It was, you know, it was going to come. It wasn't going to be wasted. And I think with Antonio and somebody with that sort of pace, can you see that picture there? Have a look at that picture closely. Have a look at my nose and my mouth.
What have you been bashed?
38 stitches in my mouth.
Oh wow!
Oh really?
And nobody knew. I had that's Man City away there.
I had six guys. Yeah.
So
that's one of your better pictures.
So Antonio would be the guy that you would have relished then.
Well, for me, I needed. My biggest thing with midfield players today is the first look is backwards.
Yeah.
I needed to be involved in the game. If I just played side to side and backwards, nobody would know I was there except for me. Yeah. But if I wasn't splitting defences or putting the front men's feet or turning balls around the corner, you wouldn't have noticed me. So for me, somebody like him, and yeah, to the answer to your Declan Rice question, I think he is actually England's, when he plays for England, he's England's best player now also. Yep. And I like him with this. But he does need, because he's got the capacity to get forward and open them legs and run forward with the ball, not like Souček without the ball. He's got the capacity to do that. I would love to have sat there and played the ball around and fed it in, a 10-yard ball in behind their midfield for him to go on. You know, somebody like that, like you know was going to work his socks off next to you. And that the odd occasion, if I did feel like drifting forward, that he would let me go also, because he's got that defensive attribute.
They don't play three in there, do they, Bish, at the moment? You know, at West Ham, not seen them that much. They don't play three in the middle, do they?
No.
They've just got Souček and Rice, isn't it?
Well, they were at the start of Project Restart. There was Noble, Rice, and Souček.
Yeah,
playing in that kind of whatever you want to call that formation, but then obviously come into the new season, Noble's not been featured.
I'd like to see Lanzini, as Bish says, because if he's in there and you've got someone like Rice and Souček going forward, Lanzini's not going to bust his backside to get in the box, so he's in there in tight areas and I think it would be better for Rice if he was sitting in there, give him the ball. He would find Haller a lot more, or Antonio, you know, and maybe find Souček for his deep runs. I think it would just give us more options. That's another way to play, I think.
Yeah. I think it's supposed to be as a 3-4-3. It's what it's supposed to be, with the three centre-back, Masuaku and Soufal, alongside Rice and Souček. And then because we're not an advanced three, we end up a 5-4-1. even when we're attacking. Now, the 5-4-1 should be when you don't have it.
It should be, but even a 3-5, even a 3-5-2, they could play that easy enough because
definitely that would be better.
Yeah, same question goes to you then, Frank. From the current squad, who would you love to have played with?
I don't know. No, I don't know. I don't know if, especially as for me as a striker, it would be hard to play today because they don't want everything to feed. And I wasn't that kind of player. I took defenders away and I wanted to get the ball over the top. And nobody runs anymore. You know, I don't. Apart from I see Antonio do that. I think maybe I'm being harsh on the boys, but probably Rice. I think Rice would be able to find you. Lanzini definitely. You know, if he knew there was somebody moving up front, I think he would get used to it. And same with Rice. You know, I think it would be. You know, it'd be different when Bish had the ball. He knew when I was moving. He knew when I wanted the ball, when I didn't. So sometimes I was just taking defenders away to create space. But good midfielders knew that. Know that. I knew when you want it. And I think Rice and Lanzini, for me, would have been, they'd have been not bad. I think they would have found me more times than not.
Yeah, absolutely. Still, over to you.
So where do you guys think, how do you think it's going to go for the rest of this season? Are we going to continue this momentum? Are we going to continue this run? Are we going to get a nasty shock as West Ham fans? Because we always kind of, I mean, West Ham fans, you know, even if we were top of the table, 20 points clear with 3 games to go, we'd still be worried that we might lose it. So do you think it's going to go that way, or do you think we're settled under Moyes and he's going to actually take us the next step up, I guess?
I hope they don't get a lot of injuries, you know. Yeah. Because I think we've explored that, and I think he's setting his ways with the shape of the team. And you know, it's no disrespect him because it's working. So I think if he gets injuries, I mean, I like, you know, Snodgrass is there. He likes to graft up and down. He can do that. So he can come into the left side. So you know, he can still play a big part in the team, I think. You know, I don't know who they've got. Masiaki, is he left back? Well, I don't know. That's a position that I would look at. You know.
Yeah.
Because the two nations try to fit them in, so it's a funny one. I think we're in a good position, but if they get injuries, I think we could be, you know, in certain areas, I think we could be a wee bit problem.
Yeah, I think we kind of accept the fact that we are a little bit. We got a small squad, apparently. Well, 23 players. I guess that makes you guys laugh, you know, with the squad that you played with back then. But apparently, a squad of 23 is a small squad these days. But you're absolutely right, because there is a concern on the left side. I think also we've got players like Cressy, who seems to have found a new lease of life under Moyes, who's playing really well. But if he gets injured, all of a sudden we seem to have a problem maybe with our defence, etc. So I think injuries are you know, will play a massive part. What about you, Bish? What do you think? How do you think the rest of the season is going to go?
I just think if we can sort of grab hold of this and build on the confidence, I think we'll be okay. I think last season, the season before, we have a squad that could contend the top 6, and it hasn't worked out. You know, right now we're sitting up in 8th with the same squad. And when you look at the rest of the league and the rest of the teams, it's very sporadic. The results have gone all over the place. Yeah. They've got to be looking now and saying, we can do what anybody else is doing right now. As long as we build on our... Antonio's a big factor. If we can get him back, keep him fit, know the times to give him a break or to bring other people in, like you know, Lanzini's not. The problem they have is if he's staunch on the 11 that he has and doesn't like the rotation or doesn't change the tactics a little bit, if it falls down, it's hard to change your strategy. Yeah. It's hard to then, the players that haven't been in are disgruntled. So when they do come in, the head's already down already. Yep. I mean, I see Yarmolenko as a fine example that When he comes on, he seems to games. And yet, when he does well and affects games, starts the next one, he doesn't produce the same spark. You know, so you got people, are they cut out to be, you know, just effective for 20 minutes when things aren't going right, or to shut the game down? But you're never going to keep them happy. So if you keep the players that we're talking about, your Lanzini's, just you keep them out the pitch, it's going to be difficult if things do fall down to bring them in and expect them to lift everybody else. Because the players playing see them in training every day. They're disgruntled. You know, somebody spoke the other day about having their captain back. I can't remember which team it was. So when he's back in training, the place changes because you feel you're sort of reliant on your better, stronger players. And it also works the opposite way around. You see the disgruntled players in training every day. They will. I mean, they moan about everything anyway, so they will be going to the ones who aren't playing and going, "Can't believe you're not playing," or "I can't."
Yeah. There's an awful lot said about. It looks as if David Moyes is slowly but surely moving all the Pellegrini signings out of the way. You know, Anderson has gone out on loan. Yarmolenko's only a sub. Aller's only been used as a sub. You know, he's only come into the team recently because Antonio was injured. When Pellegrini was here, were you surprised it didn't work out the way we all thought it was going to work out? Yeah, was he the right manager for West Ham?
Well, you've got to ask the question. There will always be this question: who signs the players at West Ham? Unfortunately, you know, that's the way it is, because nobody knows who signs them. When you've got Big Sam going on radio and telling you that David Sullivan pops up with a striker every now and then, you know, it's not doing the club any good. You know, so I think, you know, you've got to find the right guy that can stand up to David and say, look, I think David Moyes will do that, you know, but he's got to stand up to David Sullivan and say, I buy the players, you know, it's your money, but let me pick them. The manager, because you live and die by what you put in the park. So I think that's a big thing for David. I think he will definitely get his own players in. It might take him another season, but I think that's for sure. He'll do that because he's strong enough. I think he'll stand up to Messrs. Sullivan and Gold and tell them, because it's great that the chairman that wants to bring you players, but just give the money to the manager and let him buy the players or pick the players.
Well, we know Mr. Sullivan likes a little player flutter or two every now and again, don't we?
Yeah.
Well, listen, guys, we are coming up to like near the hour mark, but before we go into before we close off the show or anything, let's talk a little bit about Ian Bishop and Frank Mccavennie. Listen, you have played together. Have you got any stories you want to give us, a little bit of banter, anything at all that the fans want to hear?
No, I remember we got promoted from the second division one time, and if I'm right in thinking about, in May. And Bonzo, the gaffer, took us to Henlow. Was it Henlow Greensbush? Was it up that way?
Yeah, the health club.
He took us away from a health club. He took us away.
It was Lou, Frank. It was Lou.
Where was it?
It was McCarthy.
Luton.
It was Lou McCarthy.
Oh, was that McCarthy? It was McCarthy. He took us away. And we had bets and all that. McCarthy wanted you to get bets. And anyway, he gets sacked that weekend. I think that was the weekend to get sacked. But a couple of the stewardesses, aerobics teachers, were having a party, and invited me and Bish. And we didn't know how to work it out, so we went to the party, and luckily we came back. McCarthy get took away, because we got back late, as you can imagine, and McCarthy get took away and get sacked, that was the best news I've ever heard.
So he wasn't a favourite then, was he, Lou McCarthy?
No.
Elaborate on his story, right? I'm going to the story because I remember some of it.
Some of it. Not all of it, only some of it.
Yeah.
You missed this bit, mate. But what has happened on the way in, like where Henlow Grange is, it's like a mile-long driveway, because we used to run it at 6 o'clock every morning. Well, we did. You were going to McDonald's.
Yeah.
At the front gates, there was a pub, so obviously we noticed it on the way in. We're going to a health farm. we're eating lettuce and apples and whatever. We actually bought a packet of chocolate biscuits off 2 ladies there for about 10 quid because we were that hungry. Because Lou was a stickler for us. And he said to me, just because you're thin doesn't mean you're not fat.
What?
And then he usually did.
That one out, yeah.
If a horse loses 1 pound, it's a length of the horse, you know? Okay, I understand. I get that because I like to bet. But what I'd done, Lou had been telling us about his toothache. Remember, Frank?
Yeah.
So this last night, it was supposed to be the last night, they brought a hypnotist in and got everybody. Look at that smile. So they brought the hypnotist in. So everybody who was at the one was in this room. And we're just standing at the back like we don't want to be involved. But it's the hypnotist. And we knew this party was going on. It's supposed to start in the pub and then go wherever. But we knew this party was going on. And then the hypnotist has gone, right, has anyone got any ailments or any complaints? We've gone, he's got a toothache. No. He's gone, yeah, he's got a toothache. All the time. The fella's gone, come up here. And we've got him sat in this armchair, like, and I mean, I don't believe in that shit, but we took a gamble. So the fella's got Lou hypnotized. As soon as Lou went under, we fought on.
Remember, we're all doing that in front of him. We're all buying, and he was out.
Was he out?
Was he really?
Yeah, he was out. We're all snapping. He was gone.
Bloody Ruffian.
Oh man!
Yeah, I'd love to have drawn wee things on his eyes and all that, but I didn't. We went to the party.
We were out till I think we had to start running at 6, right? We got in about 5:30 in the morning. We literally had time to get undressed, get in bed, get out the other side of the bed, put the kit on. We went to go down to do our 6 a.m. run, and there was a note from the manager. Your manager had to leave last night at 11 o'clock or something. Because
by bed.
Well, yeah.
Good team bonding. Good team bonding.
Just quickly, that kid there, he's got to, while we were there, we're fucking starving, right? While we were there, he's gone, oh, Lou, I've got a business meeting down the road. To the real snap. You only come back with a fucking McDonald's cap on.
I came. Do you know what I came back to, lads? I came back, and all these guys, the England rugby team were in the same hotel. And he organised a drinking session with the English rugby team, and me and him had to drink with 2 of them, their best drinkers, and it was one with shots. He was drinking beer with the other guy, and I had to drink shots with this guy. Well, you can imagine we won anyway. We were singing, we're up the table singing "Oh Sweet Chariot" and all that kind of stuff. It was a good weekend, but we didn't win many games after that, to be honest with you.
But I love it, Frank. It was a good weekend away with the lads.
Yeah, it was a good weekend. Yeah, a normal weekend in Glasgow.
You know what, we went out, the fatties wouldn't go. Julian and Georgie turned it down.
No.
So we brought us in as subs. But just before we go, I want one story about. We started on the hat tricks. Remember that hat, his last game against Forest, right? We're on the pitch, and obviously he's come on. I think he got his second goal or whatever, and we'd won the game. And somebody went down injured. Somebody's gone down injured. So while they're down injured, getting treatment, I've walked over to him. I'm standing there with my arm around him, and we're talking, right? We're talking, and then after the game finished, he scores his hat trick, and it was brilliant. Sad day for me because my mate left me, you know. So. It was a bad day, a good day and a bad day. Great night, but good day and a bad day. So anyway, I go in the players' lounge afterwards, and my brother, my half brother used to go to games, and my next door neighbour were there. They used to sit by each other. And as soon as I walked in, they went, "What were you and Mccavennie talking about?" I went, "Why?" I said, "The fans around us were saying, look at Bishop and Mccavennie sorting out where they're going after the game." What we were talking about.
That is exactly what I'm talking about, yeah. It was a good night.
Oh, brilliant.
Listen, this could be an episode of Friends Reunited, hopefully.
Yeah.
So
we're going to have a week on our own now.
Yeah.
Actually, that's what we'll do. We'll bring you guys
next time you're over.
I don't know, mate. I don't know when it's opening again. So as soon as it opens, I'm gonna make my way over.
All right, Paul. Well, give me a shout and I'll meet up with you.
Like, definitely. I'm gonna get up there and see you, mate.
Well, we've actually said to both of you separately, maybe you've forgotten, but myself and Stell go to the official supporters club. So when things are back to normal, we would love to have you as guests at the supporters club. The fans would love that, guys.
He's buying, by the way.
Yeah, I don't mind. I will buy 100%. Like, listen,
you've said they're drinking antics. You better get a bank loan out, mate.
I have to make my credit card. No, guys, on a genuine note, I totally appreciate you taking the time out to come on, and obviously we're raising awareness as much as we can for any of the kind of local kids in and around Newham who are struggling at the moment, to raise the toy appeal, as Stell's put up there, on the run up to Christmas. We and other West Ham content creators are coming together to support the Newham Recorder Christmas toy appeal. And Irons supporting food banks this year has been tough for a lot of us. So in times like these, we need to help the most vulnerable. And then there's a hashtag there, Come Together You Irons. So make sure you go and check out all that sort of stuff. Frank, before you go, mate, your favourite goal for West Ham, or your best moment at West Ham?
Couple of two. I was there twice, definitely. Going to Chelsea and battering them my first time there. Going to Chelsea and battering Chelsea, and probably my last game, coming on at half time and scoring a hat trick. Probably I will never forget that.
Yeah, amazing. Amazing memories. Bish, over to you, mate. Same.
One of his best moments is one of my worst moments, isn't it? Him leaving me, scoring that hat trick and leaving me. Yeah. I know. Sorry, mate. I'll go with the promotion, the first one. The second one was a bit of an anticlimax. You know, the year I was captain, you know, we got kicked in the balls in the semi-final against Forest. And then I actually gave the penalty away against Old, which could have made the difference between us winning it and finishing second. So the promotion, I think, being a childhood Arsenal fan as I was, to go to Highbury, I think 3 years on the spin and win games. And any time we schooled Tottenham, mate, for me. Yeah. Any time we beat Spurs, it was, you know. I remember the one on White Hart Lane, which sticks in my memory. I think was involved in 3 of the goals that day. But look, genuine for me, the FA Cup semi-final. Again, we lost. To say that's one of your best moments. There's never been a moment with supporters like that anywhere. Not anywhere. Not before then or since then.
No.
I'll tell you that.
Is that the one they were doing the conga?
You what?
Is that the one they were doing the conga up and down the terrace and all that? Was that there was
Billy Bonds, Claret Blue Army?
Yeah, brilliant.
5 minutes, non-stop, and we lost 4-0. You know.
Yeah.
Keith Hackett, Cayley thing, killed it. You know. But never getting carried off the pitch, trying to say to the fans, "Put me down, we've lost," and they wouldn't. It was just you never see anything like it again.
No. Yeah. I was in the stand that day, but was it Villa Winter? I was at stand because I was suspended.
That day, that certain day, my brother was at the game, right? And he was outside, and he's gone up to one of the policemen on the horses, and he's gone, "Can you tell me where the players' lounge is?" And the policeman's gone, "The playground's over there, Sonny." And my brother went, "Oh, fuck off, McLeod." And then he ended up, I remember West Ham fans telling me they'd seen this lad getting chased by the police on the horses. It was my brother. He got arrested. He got thrown in the cell with a load of West Ham fans. And he's a scouser. And he said he didn't want to. And then he had to say to Ian Bishop's brother. And one of the fans went, "Can't be. He's got a big nose."
Brilliant.
See the game.
Right.
Still, I'll pass over to you, mate, and we can finish up.
Well, I've got no more to say. I'm just really, you know, it's been an absolute pleasure to chat with you guys. It really is. I mean, I've been on the terraces watching you both. I'm that old. I remember going back watching Frank. You know, and then you, Bish, etc.
I don't know if that's a compliment. I don't think that's a compliment, mate.
Well, no, it is a compliment, isn't it? No, it's been an absolute pleasure. Sorry, it has. And thank you for coming on, guys. You know, really good.
Yeah,
absolutely. I wasn't coming on. It was only because Bish was coming on. I thought, only boys.
For anyone that is watching, of course, we are West Ham Irons United. Yeah. You can jump across to our channel, hit the subscribe button, all that malarkey. But of course, we're here for one thing, which is to help all the people in the local community. Anyway, Frank, Mr. Legend, Bishop, Mr. Legend, thank you very much for joining us.
Nice,
it's been a pleasure.
See you, Paul. See you later, buddy. Take care.
Anton, come on, you Irons.